कौन हो तुम? रिश्ते में तो हम तुम्हारे बाप होते हैं।
सबसे पहले तो एक बात बता कि वो तूने न्यूज़ देखी कि ताइवान में गंजों के सर पे बाल उगाने वाली सीरम आ गई है और 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 20 दिन में बाल उगा देंगे। वैसे अभी वो उन्होंने ह्यूमन ट्रायल स्टार्ट नहीं करी है, पर जो
I will be the
साइंटिस्ट
first person. कर लो मेरे पे
बट आई
टेस्ट.
थिंक जो ट्रायल स्टार्ट किए हैं ये उसके लिए भी क्वालिफाई कर जाता है।
नहीं तो ह्यूमन ट्रायल स्टार्ट नहीं किया उन्होंने, अभी माइस
है
पे
तो
किया है।
ह्यूमन, हाँ तभी तो बोल रहा हूँ माइस ट्रायल्स पे भी ये क्वालिफाई कर जाएगा।
नहीं, पर जो साइंटिस्ट थे उन्होंने अपने पैर पे लगाना चालू कर दिया तो उनके पैर पे बाल उग रहे हैं। तो गंजो, हाँ, तो वो दे आर
That's
क्लेमिंग
promising.
कि या गंजे के सर पे 20 दिन में बाल उगा देंगे। एंड वी आर एट डिफरेंट स्टेजेस ऑफ बॉल्डिंग इन आवर लाइव्स। Some of us are like fully there, some of us are halfway there, some of us are just starting to be there. So
Correct.
उनके पैर पे
ये
बाल नहीं आते हैं क्या प्रॉब्लम है लाइफ में?
तो यार तेरी एक प्रॉब्लम है ना कि हो सकता है कि मूंछ पे बाल आ रहे हैं और पैर पे नहीं आ रहे। जो तेरी थ्योरी है कि कुछ लोगों के मूंछ पे, यानी आई वोंट से वेयर, ऐसा नहीं हो कि मैं बैन हो जाए या शैडो बैन हो जाए फॉर इनसेंसिटिविटी।
इट्स अ सेंसिटिव टॉपिक,
कैंसिल हो गए.
रादर नॉट डिस्कस।
या
कैंसिल
रादर
बात
नॉट
करते
डिस्कस।
हो.
मार्केट की एक और खबर, वो बेवकूफ जेम्स विन फिर लिक्विडेट हो गया एज यूजुअल।
I really don't get, like, those are real
I think
trades, right?
Yeah,
he
yeah.
got
They are real
something
trades,
like in
right?
subscription.
Yep.
He got some money in subscription, yeah, something like that. I think 120 130K उसके total
Yeah, it's gone from millions to 6 figures now. Times
But
40.
who's like subscribing to him? That I want to
Yeah,
ask
exactly.
that.
Yeah, why would you subscribe to a loser?
Yeah,
But yeah,
I mean,
Yeah,
he's got,
okay, here's the thing. I wouldn't consider him as a loser. I mean, the guy did make money from Pepe and he did make money in leverage. His recent calls have been bad. We've all been in that place.
correct.
It's just that he's
I
consistent losing. You know?
no, I think he just made money in one trade, that is
Doge.
Pepe.
That was the Pepe trade. Yeah, that was
That
the
is
only
his
trade.
Pepe
Exactly.
trade. That is his
Correct.
claim to
Yeah.
fame. He made money
Correct.
in one trade, Pepe, and that's it. And then he's been consistently losing. In fact, मुझे तो ऐसा लगता है कि हो सकता है कि जब भी वो ट्वीट डालता है, राइट, उसका लिक्विडेशन पॉइंट देख के एक्सचेंजेस भगाने लगते हैं कि पहले साले इसको लिक्विडेट कर दे हम।
Yeah, and to be honest, उसकी साथ के उसका जो ट्रेडिंग पेयर ग्रुप है, तो वो देख कौन है, वो है एंड्रू टेट है। I mean, you know, those guys
Yeah.
that talk to each other during their trades are these guys who have no market knowledge whatsoever. Andrew Tate
Correct.
got liquidated like multiple times. उसने वो fake screenshot भी डाला था where, you know, he was like, I'm, I made $1 million or something, and then उसकी actual trade
That
he
dude
was
has
in
no idea
losses.
what he's talking about. That
And
dude
they
has
have
no idea what he's talking
whatsoever.
about. Yeah, he has no idea what he's talking about.
ये
Most of the
क्या बोलते
people.
हैं, yeah, he makes so much noise, man. Like he's opening a trade and then he's like putting screenshots. I've put like 100, opened like 100 million trade, 40-50x, and क्या वो देख के ही obviously it just seems a bit कि, you know, I don't know, like
Yeah,
it's
to be
like
honest,
very risky.
I think, to be honest, ये जो whole fiasco चला है ना, where these big leverage traders keep posting, yeah, you know, I'm posting like 100 million
Yeah.
trade or 200 million trade. I think also this has caused a very negative impact on the entire trading, you know, scenario that we have. क्योंकि जितने भी अब ये इतने सारे आते हैं कि, you know, we are opening this long or this long, and अभी ये जो एक नया ट्रेंड शुरू हो गया कि, you know, you they start posting कि इस वेल ने जो है वो 200 मिलियन की लेवरेज ट्रेड लगाई हुई है, 300 मिलियन की लेवरेज ट्रेड लगाई हुई है, and you know, you basically highlight all those people, and then you have those market makers who are sitting there just for individuals like this कि इनको लिक्विडेट करके एक झटके में, you know, they can make big bucks. And जब तक ये नहीं था तब तक you could still see organic movement in the market. जब से ये आए हैं, you know, the market is just literally moving against all these big whales that are coming in.
Yeah, और ये एक वही इसी बात पे थोड़ा कंटिन्यूएशन की एक चार्ट जो मैं लाइक नॉर्मली देखता हूँ जब भी, you know, before opening a position or if I generally want to see where the market is going, right, is the liquidation heat map market. ये एक ऐसा इंडिकेटर है जो ओवरऑल एट सम पॉइंट आपको डायरेक्शन दे ही देता है, बिकॉज मोस्टली द मार्केट मूव्स टुवर्ड्स वेयर दीज हाई लिक्विडेशंस आर, राइट. एंड ये लिक्विडेशन हीट मैप का जो चार्ट है, सॉरी चार्ट है, चैट है ये चार्ट है
It's okay, I'll
ये
edit it.
यस ओके यू एडिट इट फाइन, वो मैं एक बार शेयर करके तुमको दिखाता हूँ कि क्या बोल रहा है अभी.
Show that.
तो
One more thing that
Yeah.
we should see, and I think I will probably sit tonight or tomorrow and maybe just sort of relate, is your liquidation heat map and the volumes
yeah
against it, right? Because
yeah
मैं आज MM की एक वीडियो देख रहा था, ठीक है,
hmm.
and he was basically talking about volumes, and I could, the way he was showing the chart, right? अगर तू, if you're opening your screen, you can just open last MM Crypto's video and you can see that also. उसमें he was talking about where BTC's resistance is, right, and where the majority volume is sitting for the resistance. तो वो यही कह रहा है कि यार, if the BTC moves anywhere from 116 to 119, that's where your major volume is sitting, resistance volume is sitting.
Yes.
That's where your bears basically, final line of defense is sitting. Once it crosses 119, 121 agar aap cross karte ho, then we are seeing like these extreme new highs that we all want to see for BTC. But until then, there is a massive volume sitting there, and I think that volume sort of correlates with the liquidity heat map agar tum wo khologe to.
Yeah. So ये देख तू, this is just ETH का. So basically I used to watch like the 1 week chart, right? But they've also started like another 2 week chart. I'm guessing they've added the 2 week chart because like a lot of people were asking them for that. But if you see the 1 week chart, they've almost cleaned. ये सब ना पूरा yellow होता था, ये सब पूरा part. So they've pretty much cleaned all of this.
इसका एक काम कर, ये जो नीचे वाला जो स्लाइडर है ना इसका, the left slider, sorry,
ये
हाँ, slide it towards the right, so वो थोड़ा सा टाइम फैल जाएगा, like that.
ये देख नीचे जो है ये तेरे क्लस्टर्स अब भयंकर फॉर्म होने लगे, ऊपर नॉट सो मच. So I would say in the immediate future, it looks like it might go down.
And with down, what is the maximum pain that you can see in this liquidity chart?
So I'm seeing about, यहाँ तक भी क्लीन किया तो 3600 लेवल्स तो दिख ही रहा है. I'm not sure कि इतना जाएगा. I don't know why.
Yeah,
but it might just wick down and then come back up.
So जो ETH का fib कहता है, वो कहता है कि about 3700 is the support that we see.
Yeah. So this is one of
3700. The fib retracement for the last move that we've made in the past 3 weeks. Retracement of that. But the liquidation heat map, if you look at it, even before every large move, like I'm talking about like macro large moves, you'll often see long build-ups in the liquidation heat map as well. So it is, but I kind of feel that the liquidation heat map in the longer sense of things is a good metric, or is something good to look at, but it makes more sense at the micro level, because if there is a lot of stuff which is built up, which is I call it maybe say leverage goop, which is built up on either side, it usually gets wiped out. But from a longer time frame standpoint, it usually you'll often find a large amount of long build up before every large macro move. We saw that in BTC also.
Yeah.
And we'll see that in ETH as well, because ETH still hasn't rallied so far, right? So we'll still see that in ETH, where we'll see a very, very large amount of long build up, which won't get cleaned out.
I understand that, but that will be like below a certain level, right? Like if I would say it will be like below 3600, या ऐसा तेरे एक certain level के नीचे build up हो रहा है, that might not get cleaned out. But in this cycle, what I've seen is generally these all of these leverage traders are being wiped out, and most of जहाँ पे liquidation है, कोई से भी बड़े छोटे move के पहले, all of these थोड़े remember अभी जब 4700 या 4600 तक जाके एकदम से 3600 तक क्रैश किया था, like below its like almost close to its 50 week moving average. That in that 1 week, it wasn't like there was nothing for it to move, but it just moved up to 4600. BTC के ऊपर 125 126 के पे बहुत leverage हो गया था. It just moved up and then करके it came back to 102 तक गया था, right? जो बड़ा क्रैश आया उसके just एक वीक पहले का मूव देख तू, all of that was just cleaning these
But
liquidation.
I agree with you.
Yeah, fair enough.
And to be honest,
and even
with
if you
your
study and you're right, these are short terms. These are basically for like obviously for leverage traders in the
These
short.
are these, These are these 10% odd moves which sort of clean out people on both sides, but
Exactly.
it does not, in my view, it does not really signify a directional change,
No, it's not.
so to speak.
No,
Because
It's not a
yeah,
directional
because the
change.
broader structure, broader structure, in my view, is still on the upside. Because one thing that I've been looking at for maybe since the past, so ever since, so you guys know that I've been like openly bullish about gold since 2022, right? And obviously, we used to have this conversation with other folks at the office as well, and we used to, I mean, that this was before that Ukraine sort of Russia war broke out, and everybody sort of said that at that point of time, why isn't gold rallying at that time when there was so much
we
global
had that
tension,
question that time. Yes.
right? And but the point here was it was never about that. The broader structure was something, and it did not rise when there was the East European sort of standoff, and it did not rise when there was the Middle East standoff. But now it's just rallying, and some other narrative will sort of get in. But
Yeah. And
a similar chart structure is being formed in ETH as well.
Yes.
And gold was range bound for I believe for a decade, right? From 2017 onwards, right? So about 8 odd years. And even in the near future, it was heavily range bound, maybe for about 4 or 5 years. ETH has done pretty much the same. It's been range bound for the past 2 odd years, and it's been range bound ever since it hit its 2021 peak. And we are at a position where we are breaking out of a 4 or 5 year old range. And just technically speaking, I don't know what the narrative is going to be, because if you look at the fundamental narrative is building up, right? So number one is obviously the whole Genius Act getting played out in the US, right? Stablecoin adoption getting played out in the US, institutions stacking up on ETH because institutions and Wall Street has chosen ETH as its chain for tokenizing all financial products. They've made that sort of public. Right. So that fundamental side is building up, and obviously staking is also being made legal. So it makes sense for them to not just buy, use, but also stake and sort of secure the network. And of course, the tribe mindset of ETH is definitely there. That it's probably the only chain of its magnitude which has never seen any sort of downtime. So that bull thesis is very much there. Right? I don't know what that narrative is going to be, because if, say, the world decides to make ETH its adoption layer, right? You're looking at a massive financial market, which is probably worth 80 to 100 trillion, which is going to get tokenized, and ETH is going to be that chain. So that bull thesis is there. But even aside from all of that, the technical setup is so similar to gold at this point of time, because it is literally the same chart. The only difference is gold was range bound for maybe 8 odd years, and ETH has been range bound for 4, right? And it's breaking out in a similar way. And if an asset class such as gold, which is $15 trillion back when it was 2,000 odd dollars, can double from that range breakout zone, right? From 2K can become 4K, right? And still gold has not lost steam. And everybody still does not know what the narrative is. Why is gold rising, right? Everybody kind of says that, yeah, it's the hedge against the dollar, but then most of smart money is still parked in treasury assets, right? So who is stacking up on this gold? So the narrative is still not clear. And with this 11% fall that gold has had, everybody is sort of saying that this is the top of gold, right? And everybody is now jumping to load up on shorts on gold. So each time people start adding up shorts on gold, it will just keep on rallying up. Yeah. And the narrative will become clear maybe in the next couple of years. And the day the narrative becomes clear why gold rallied will be the top. Today is not the top, because it is not clear as to why gold. And when I say clear, it means it is not clear based on a consensus that this is why gold rose.
It's all speculative.
Exactly. And as long as it's speculative, people keep on shorting the tops and it just keeps on going up. The day the narrative becomes clear, that will be the top of gold, right? So it's not the top for gold right now. So similarly, ETH right now. So if a $15 trillion asset can break out of an 8-year range and become $30 trillion today, why can't a $500 billion asset break out of its 4-year range and become a $1 trillion asset? So that is the bull thesis for ETH. So just tying back to what we were discussing, yeah, the liquidation heat maps do make sense and from a shorter time frame.
Yes.
And we are looking at these 10% moves up on either side, sort of wicking out the liquidation goop. But the broader thesis is very much intact. And the move that sort of BTC has led, I kind of feel that ETH is going to do that, and that fractal for me is very, it's very in the face for me at least, and that's what I'm looking at. So these liquidation heat maps are good for the shorter run, but I think the broader structure is up and it's largely up. At least it's a doubler. That's the way I see it. I don't know whether because some people might even say that it's probably going to flip BTC one day, and I feel that it actually will. That flipping will happen, whether this cycle or the next. We've been discussing this for 2 cycles now, but that will happen. But as of now, it's at least a double, if not anything else.
One thing I want to add something to that. First, it's not flipping like bridging.
Yes, it's flipping. It's flipping.
पुराने दिन याद आ गए इसको. पुराने दिन याद आ गए. इसके best friend के.
Damn, dude.
So he went back into the days of bridging. Nice. So, but there are 2 things to it. I agree with your analysis, okay? And I completely agree. Okay, yes, ETH right now is. I don't think ETH is sitting at 500 billion. I think it's about what, $400 billion market cap right now.
Yeah. I'm rounding it up. I'm rounding it up from the recent highs of 4,800.
तो मेरे हिसाब से, yes, there is an extremely high possibility of ETH moving to, let's say, $2 trillion or $3 trillion, right? That's like 4, 5x, 6x from here, maybe more. And that is a very optimistic view, but it's also very practical view. Like it is, I would say, 80% possibility that will happen eventually, right? When we're looking at liquidation heat maps, right, and you have to take into account that there are 2 kind of traders, right? There are people like us, maybe James Wynn, right, or Wiz, and these guys who made money in the last couple of cycles, right? Who've got like these VC funds and these, basically, what do you call them? Those hedge funds in place, right? And for them, they are least bothered about these liquidation heat maps, right?
Correct.
Because for them, it's like you said, it's in a longer term perspective. अगर आज मैं 3,800 पे खरीद रहा हूँ या 4,000 पे खरीद रहा हूँ, $200 की difference मुझे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता on it, right?
Does make a difference.
And for me, it's more about accumulating the asset itself, right? So I'll keep buying all the way to, let's say, $5,000 also, or maybe I'm buying at $10,000 because I know 20 years from now or 15 years from now, each valuation would be, let's say, $15,000 or $20,000. So my accumulated amount would be making more money, right? And that is the bet where we're all in the crypto space are taking against the dollar when we're hedging our funds into ETH or BTC, right? Like, so whatever trades we make, we convert them into not into USDT or not into dollar, we convert them into BTC or ETH, because over time, it's in like this upward going trend. So you will always be making money eventually. But then you also have those traders who haven't made money in the past cycle, majority retail, that just actually came in, let's say, after 2022. And these are guys who have very limited amount of capital to invest in, right? So, like the last conversation we had, they are either going into the casino with meme coins and trying to make big money right away, and losing most of it. And the smart ones from there are basically going into either spots of these top 10, 20, tokens. And they're like, we're going to continue working on our 9-to-5 jobs. This is our savings. And we're going to put our savings into my, let's say I'm going to buy, a little Ripple, a little ETH, a little BTC, and I'm going to diversify the portfolio over the next 10, 15 years. I'm going to keep adding. And these are those guys who have a 9-to-5 job. They have the a steady income that is coming into their house. And then you have the third kind of players who were us in the last cycle, who had no jobs, nothing, who were building a career into trading actually. And what they did was they put all their money into the leverage basket, right? And they were basically reading these heat maps and all of this. And at that point in time, because उस time पे इतना institutionalized नहीं था, market manipulated नहीं थी, these were the tools that were used to understand in the next short term, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, where the market is headed. And you could basically place your bet accordingly and make good money. At that time, that was possible. Today, because the market is so manipulated, right? These heat maps, yes, they give you a sense of direction, but those directions are very short term, maybe like a week, 2 week, 3 week maximum. Because if you look at this heat map that Navid just shared, right? If you move it from 2 weeks to, let's say, 6 months or a year, the entire image is going to change, right?
Correct.
Your liquidity is going to be sitting way bottom, way up, majority. It'll be negligible, right? But
correct.
For traders like us, we see those liquidities, right? ETH should not go anywhere below 1300. If it goes, well, it's good for us. We accumulate more, right? But traders who are trading on day-to-day basis, who are leveraging their little amount of capital that they have, 5x, 10x leverage, they are looking into those 5%, 2%, 3% move, because on a 20x leverage, a 5% move doubles your value. So they are looking for those small numbers to move. And for them, these sort of liquidation map and those, candles help a lot. So I think it is still relevant, but it depends on what sort of trader you are.
Fair enough. But what essentially is going to happen is that it's an interesting perspective, right? Like for us, these things worked in the past because there wasn't much institutional adoption, right? So it's institutional adoption is like a double-edged sword, right? The only way we're becoming a top tier asset class, which is northwards of $10 trillion, right, is if there is institutional adoption, right? Because that's where the money is sitting, right? Because if there is about 80 to $100 trillion of, if you look at derivatives combined, then we're looking at $1,000 trillion market. But let's look at just spot only, and let's look at asset classes of which sort of encompass the entire financial world. For us to become top tier, for us to become a top tier asset class, we have to hit that $10 trillion mark, and the only way that happens is through institutional adoption. Now, if we are looking at institutional adoption creating an issue in shorter time frames, I think, and this is just my point of view, and time will tell, because the next couple of months will sort of make this even more clearer, is it because the more that institutions get in, so market makers will be more active where there are more institutions, because market making is a very thin margin business, right? You only make money when there's volume. And market makers will slowly and steadily, at least the good ones, and which is effectively going to be 90% of the market, will gravitate towards first page CMC, right? More and more towards that, because that is where market making makes sense. Because as institutions come in, oversight will increase, and oversight on these top 100 sort of tokens will be relatively easier because things are going to be cleaner, much cleaner. So MMs will gravitate there, and there's going to be a lot of action and volume there, right? These kind of wicks happens in equities as well. These kind of wicks happen greatly in commodities. I know Navid has traded commodities. So, commodities is mad volatile, right? Crypto probably just is a shade of that. So what's going to happen is, I think it's traders, and this is something that has already been proven in the first half of this whatever cycle that we've seen, which is practically been the BTC cycle only. But something that we've seen is that the smaller traders have figured out that it doesn't make sense to trade with leverage, and they're getting a sense and a reminder of that every couple of months. And 10th of October was another reminder, is that it makes sense for me to not trade a leveraged position on, say, a top 100 CMC token even, because that's where institutional adoption is coming in. They're going to drive out and squeeze out retail. It makes sense for me, if I were to go back to previous cycle days, to rather trade an on-chain meme, which is devoid of any market maker interference, right? And if I get the usual spiel of tokenomics right and a couple of checklists right, I stand to make money there because a couple of on-chain memes did not get decimated on the 10th of October, whereas everything listed on Sexes got decimated, right? So I think that was a wake-up call. So that is how the market will get split. So the trader who is trying to make money on a large asset playing a leveraged bet. So why take a 20x leverage on ETH and think about making a 10x when I can literally buy a meme and still sort of try and make that 10x. I stand to get liquidated on that side. I don't stand to get liquidated here, but I do stand to go bust on this side. But at least I don't go bust from volatile sort of market behaviors. I get bust from manipulation, which is something that anyway existed in the previous cycle as well. So that is how the market essentially gets divided. And the folks who want to be in the wild, wild west gravitate more towards these on-chain plays and towards these memes. And something that has come out as the clear winner in this cycle is that the whole narrative of crypto being called a casino, I don't think that's a bad term. I think that's a damn good term because a casino is a sprawling business in the real world, right? I don't see why a casino business should be frowned upon. And crypto has sort of cemented its base like a casino, and it's good. And those buggers will essentially gravitate more and more towards these on-chain plays.
One of the things with like leverage traders is that they never leave trading leverage.
That's also true. Some will always be there.
I recently like met like a normal like he used to be like a commodities trader, futures trader, right? And he was trading. He told me like, "अरे यार, मैं तो बहुत leverage पे उड़ गया यार, अभी ये crash आया. I'm gonna, पर अभी अच्छा time है. I got an entry at this point, और अभी मैंने 10x ले लिया है, so I'll recover it.
This time is different.
Yeah, this time it's different. That this time it's different. वाली जो mentality है ना, that is what drives the leverage market across all asset classes.
Yeah, that's true.
Correct.
That's true.
All asset classes.
It's the gamble mindset. Yeah.
जो तेरे normal funds है, big funds and all, even in commodities, they always have a 7-8 year outlook. तो अगर आप किसी से सुनोगे कि ओ हमने we've taken a $2 billion position in sort of this commodity or that commodity, no, we have a longer 7-8 year outlook on this. तो वो इतने long term outlook के साथ खरीद रहे हैं कोई चीज. जो leverage trader है, उसके बेसिकली आई डोंट नो उसके डीएनए में है या उसके खून में ऐसा है कि यार मुझे ना इमीडिएट इट्स द थ्रिल ऑफ द ट्रेड एंड नॉट एनीथिंग एल्स.
एक और चीज है ये जो हम जब इंस्टीट्यूशंस की बात करते हैं, राइट, and we're looking at, let's say, the major institutions, so you have BlackRock, you have VanEck, and you have all these guys who are basically getting into BTC ETFs and all of that, right?
Yeah.
And this is just my assumption, I may be very wrong about it, is who are their clientele, right? Their clientele are people who've been in the money markets or who have money already and are basically served by these private equity companies, right?
Yeah.
And what happens is these guys, what are the percentages of returns that they're looking at on their portfolio over a year, right? They look at 10%, 15%, right? Well, 10-15%, they're very happy. They're very satisfied with those returns because for them, because their books are so large, right, in amounts, that 10% is pretty good enough number for them. And when people say, yeah, you know, the institutions, they manipulate the market by selling, well, you have to understand that it's not the institutions that are selling. It's their clientele that want to sell, right?
Yeah.
It's those subscribers. And what their subscribers are basically doing, so people who bought Bitcoin, let's say Bitcoin ETFs when BTC was at, let's say, 90K, when they see BTC at 120K, it's a very natural instinct for these guys to sell and take those profits, right? And that's what happens. That is what happens every time BTC takes a move up. These guys, and this is, I think, a mentality that has to change with a newer generation getting into these as a clientele for these big institutions, right? That will change over time. Maybe, you know, because even if BTC ETFs and all of this, these are very new. It's only been about a year and a half, 2 years since that has happened. 2024 up till now. It's absolutely new. They don't. These guys have they don't have the sort of vision that the BTC maxis or crypto maxis have. This market is going to explode exponentially. They don't have that sort of vision for it. They see it as an asset class that they're investing in. But the next sort of batch, as clientele that they will get in, these guys are going to be the ones who will be like, no, yeah, I'm going to buy an ETF. It's going to be a safe investment with BlackRock or VanEck or whoever it is, and I'm going to keep it for, let's say, 2 years and 3 years, because I know BTC will double in 2 years or 3 years or 4 years.
Correct.
Right? And that will happen over time. But until then, of course, we will see these up and downs.
Yeah, they're also coming out with leveraged ETFs up थोड़े दिन में, so that will also be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That will also be there, correct, yeah.
Yeah. चल भाई, नरकुंडी कुछ बोल दे भाई, बहुत चुप बैठ गया तू, बता दे कुछ।
market
क्या
view,
चल रहा है?
मार्केट की सेंटिमेंट कैसे फील होगी हमें?
हाँ, बहुत काम की बातें बहुत हो गई, थोड़ा तू बता दे भाई, मैं आज चैन से सोना चाहता हूँ, मेरे कुछ ट्रेड्स खुले हुए हैं।
बता कौन से ट्रेड पहले?
अच्छा, मुझे नहीं नरकुंडी, पहले तो ये बता कि what trades are you looking at?
I am only in mega caps, BTC, ETH, and Sol. That's it.
So these are the three that I don't touch.
Oh damn, ये तो पूरी मार्केट ले जाने वाला है।
वही होराइजन की बात आ गई कि
BTC ईद गया तो खत्म ही हो गया।
Yeah, that's like 75% of that's like 75% of all of crypto at cap.
Yeah, so then there's hope, I can keep you guys afloat for some time.
What is your view on the market?
Yes.
My view is जैसे तूने बीच में बोला, right, कि जो अब audience आ रही है who are happy with 15%, 20. I mean, see, S&P itself has doubled in 5 years, last 5 years.
Correct. Yeah.
Which is way overheated. Like average has been like 7%. 8-9
Correct.
years में जाके S&P double होता था. अभी itself 5 years में double हुआ है. उससे ज़्यादा gains उन लोगों को BTC से ज़्यादा मिल जाता if they had stayed in that 5 years. Like, I don't know, it would have been 600-700% कुछ होता. So उसका जो taste आ गया अब retail को, the kind of people who will park aside some money, but उन लोग का horizon is probably not going to be weeks looking at liquidation, heat maps. It's more like parking your money aside and forgetting it. Like even people in my family, they don't even know what price they invested in BTC, ETF, BlackRock. Yeah. So for them, it's like 4 years, 8 years, they don't know. And they're not even tracking the price. Like, how do you not know what's your investment value right now?
So they are behavioral long-term investors because of ETF investing.
Yes, and I think they probably might make way more money than people trying to time the market.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that is absolutely true.
That's because that's how they're wired for, man.
They are wired for long term. So
yeah, yani overall as a percentage, if you see, yes, they will make more money. But then you have your cryptos and Dr. Profits and these guys who are just timing the market and playing.
But to be honest, I don't think we'll have another wave of these sort of guys like and Dr. Profit.
Dr. Profit देख तू आज क्या यानी ऐसा आया वो market में. The delusional bulls said a green September means a double-digit green October. Yet we missing this strength. Instead, we got the biggest liquidations ever in October. And now these low IQs are daily calling for Moon November, and Bull December. The clown show continues. एक उसका एक move ऐसा सही हुआ है, उसके बाद तो दुनिया पे ना अपना निकाल के यानी.
But he's been fairly consistent over the past 1.5 years. वैसे देखा जाए.
Last 6 to 8 months.
6 to 8.
Last 6 to 8 months since I've been seeing it.
की यही lifeline है. उसके बाद फिर nobody
knows what
happening.
Actually, तो देखा हर थोड़े दिन में कोई एक नया आता ही है सही बीच में. At one point of time, even Capo was right? That's why he was Capo.
Yeah,
the
so
thing
true.
is the same now for all these influencers. They have to have one call of a day that goes according to them, and then they'll be like sitting on everybody's head. I told you so. That's the game.
Dr. Profit का जो प्रीमियम ट्रेडिंग ग्रुप है उसमें 13,000 लोग हैं. ठीक है.
How much per month?
$59 per month चार्ज करता है वो. That is $795,000 a month that he is making a month.
भाई मैं तो बोलता हूँ कि इसकी जो ट्रेडिंग ग्रुप है ना, इसकी वैल्यूएशन पे बेट करते हैं भाई कि ये अगले महीने कितना बनाएगा उसको लेवरेज करो।
एक बार ये उड़ेगा, इसका एक ट्रेड गलत हुआ, मतलब कि अभी ये बोल रहा है कि चलो बीटीसी जो है गिरने वाला है, राइट? हिज थिंग इज लाइक कि माय शॉर्ट एरिया इज बिटवीन 115k to sort of like 120k के बीच का मेरा शॉर्ट accumulation एरिया है. Whenever BTC comes here, I'll keep adding to my shorts. And if BTC goes over this area, then I'll like hold because I want to manage my liquidation price effectively. But if BTC goes to say crosses 126, crosses 130, goes to 140k, which is like sort of the top target for now. Like वो जब जाएगा, ये सारे 13,000 लोग बस नहीं भरेंगे फिर, और क्या ये इसकी अभी जितने दिन की लाइफ है उतने दिन ये जितना मिल्क कर ले उतना मिल्क कर ले.
But I think he's like the reverse crypto. He bought like at 49 पे उसने अपने leverage लगाना शुरू किया था BTC पे, and he's been buying I think until 72, 74. That's where his liquidity is sitting at. And I think this guy Dr. Profit is playing the absolute reverse. So he's marking the top of BTC and he's going to short from there.
No, he was shorting. He was longing also. Like in the
past. Yeah, he was long as well. Yeah.
Beach में यानी he I don't know what metrics that he is specifically looking at, but in between when he sees when the market is turning etc, वो उस पे वो change कर लेता है अपना कि मैंने अभी ऐसे किया. Even जो लोग थोड़े analysis करते हैं जैसे बेंजामिन कोवन हो गया, अगर आप उसका देखो तो he has a tool जिसपे वो पूरा देखते रहता है, उसका खुद का बनाया.
I like his analysis. He's actually good at it.
अभी तो उसका recent tone देख, for the past week he was saying कि you know obviously Bitcoin, like which all of us been agreeing to, like Bitcoin dominance is gonna go up and all, but his thing was like for BTC dominance to go up, BTC has to come down a bit because ETH is also showing strength, right? And whenever BTC is rising, ETH is almost rising equally. So जो dominance है वो बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ती नहीं जा रही है. It's like grueling, like slowly. So if BTC has to like sort of cross 62% and then like go upwards to say 65, 66, 70%, BTC has to take a little bit of a fall, which now he has sort of changed that, you know, कि वो ऐसे बोल रहा था कि we have to see कि till what level ETH falls down when BTC falls down, और ये सब बातें कर रहा था वो, but now he has changed his sort of tune when the market has been rising like steadily for the past week कि हाँ अब ऊपर जाएगा तो भी dominance बढ़ रही है. तो yeah, people keep adjusting their views.
Yeah, and that's understandable. I mean, because to be honest, we all are. We have our views changing every other day. कि आज किधर जाएगा?
Correct. Yeah.
Let's coming to one more topic.
किसी को भी blindly follow करना, तो अगर आप बेवकूफ हो तो ही follow करोगे. Like कोई है ना, अगर आप किसी को भी blindly follow कर रहे हो तो आप में अकल नहीं है. यानी आप खुद सबका सुनो, पर like खुद की भी थोड़ी analysis आपकी होनी चाहिए market अगर आपको
100%.
So coming back to tomorrow's event, tomorrow you have like 2-3 major things happening, right? So you have the FOMC meeting, जिसमें rate cut announcement हो रही है. You have the Meta, Amazon, and I think Alphabet releasing their earning reports, right? So historically speaking, whenever their earning reports come out, and if it's positive, your the stocks move up, and that basically pushes BTC price as well. Combine that with the FOMC, जो हम लोग expected ये है कि you know there is going to be a rate cut, even if it's a 25 BPS, there will be some sort of rate cut, and I think
98.5%
poly market, right? Like they're assuming that there's going to be a rate cut, and I'm sure there is. क्या लगता है market किधर जाने वाली है?
Market किधर जाने वाली है?
If we go historically, sell the news. I think
sell the news.
That's what usually happens. Yeah, that's what usually happens, right?
हाँ, मेरा भी यही मानना था. And usually क्या होता है कि sell the news 1 से 2 दिन पहले शुरू हो जाता है, like कि 2 दिन से वो आहिस्ते मूव करता है.
It might even start tomorrow morning, by the way.
Yeah. नहीं, पर तू अगर देख कल after 4-5 days of green 4-5 days of green candles, कल पहला एक red candle with a top wick आया है BTC पे. कल कहाँ, कल वो आया है तेरा inverted hammer. So
Yeah.
What?
so it might be like कि you might see, वो तेरे को समझाता हूँ मैं बाद में भी. It's again
There are a couple of things.
candles,
Inverted hammer
right?
and top. You have to look at
Yeah,
these
if you
things
have
as
to
well.
you have to be like a day trader to
Day trader to understand these. Yeah, ये
the
long term
candle
traders के
movements.
दिमाग में नहीं होता है.
उल्टा हथौड़ा. Okay.
Yeah.
ये हमारे जैसे ट्रेडर होते हैं ना जो डे ट्रेड में पैसे बना रहे होते हैं, वो इन्वर्टेड हैमर, राइट, स्ट्रेट अप हैमर, डोजीज, इन्वर्टेड डोजी,
Shooting star gravestone doji.
Shooting star, gravestone
yes,
doji. Yes,
exactly. This is what we look at.
W chart pattern और पता नहीं क्या क्या है.
And then there are traders like our Sadhguru who looks at these on the 1 minute candle.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's crashing.
To take a long term trade. To take a long term
Correct.
trade. He's looking at 1 minute candles to take a long term trade.
Correct.
So, yeah.
अच्छा, think about tomorrow. Like Nvidia का ही stock up 4% today because Trump ने बोला कि Wednesday को मिल रहा है with Jensen Huang.
But Nvidia की तो earnings report आ चुकी है ना already.
हाँ आ गई, अभी और increase है. Amazon ने कल announce किया 30,000 workers को lay off कर रहे हैं, which usually means कि profitability obviously बढ़ेगी.
But can you imagine if they say कि हम लोग lay off कर रहे हैं and then their earning reports are positive?
Actually, it can be possible.
It can be possible. वो तो
it is
cost
AI
savings,
और
right?
automation पे इतना जा रहे हैं वो.
The layoffs
Yeah,
are
absolutely.
planned way in advance, and
Correct.
they might be.
And it's probably happening. Yeah, it's probably happening. You can't just lay off 30,000 people in one day, right? Yeah.
in one day.
Yeah, over
वो
time.
Google ने किया था ना एक ईमेल के साथ. क्या सुंदर पिचाई ने भेजी थी एक ईमेल कि sorry भैया you're fired types. But yeah, चलो आज के लिए इतना करते हैं, फिर कल मार्केट या तो मार्केट के टाइम पे लाइव करेंगे या फिर just right
Yeah,
after.
we should do that.
Yeah.
We should do that. Let's have a
Let's have an
watch party
FOMC
for the
session.
market.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's have an FOMC
watch
session.
party
tomorrow.
करते हैं.
Alright.
FOMC के दौरान के क्या हो रहा है? I think it's the same time, 10:30 होता है FOMC का announcement. So we'll see at that point in time.
Guys, एक चीज.
Done. Sorry.
Yes.
Is anybody else's feed populated with just Mega ETH?
Mega ETH.
Mega ETH. ICO चल रहा है भाई, season है.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've been getting these updates on KuCoin as well. Every day there's this
33 million
new token launch.
What is that?
Every day there's some new token launch happening.
Mega ETH का L2
By the
आ
way,
रहा है.
these new tokens have had good potential to make money. Binance Alpha projects जितने भी आए हैं. Yeah, now the other day we were looking at Lab.
Yeah.
Lab got listed on Bybit.
Oh, nice.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, so these Binance Alpha tokens, they are like when they launch, like I've been doing कि मैं क्या करता हूँ 100, 200, 300, very little nominal amounts. I'm going to put them in spot and just let them be. वो 10 में डालो, उसमें से एक भी अगर 5-6x करता है, that's good money, It's nice. I mean,
Lab are the guys who I think did like a massive buyback also a couple of days back. I think a few weeks back. I think.
Yeah.
Is that the
Yeah. There were a couple of
Dollar
guys
Lab,
who did
right?
that. Dollar Lab,
Yeah.
ठीक है, चलो आज के लिए इतना. और I don't like spending more time than this with Narkundi at one go because
This
he
is
gets
way
on.
more
Hey,
than necessary.
wait. Adil, where is your fedora?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, मैं ऐड कर दूंगा उसको AI अवतार से.
Yeah, and the light is not properly bouncing off your
But
forehead. You need to put some baby oil.
How will AI identify what is your head and what is your chin?
Thanks to eyebrows जो मैं lose करने वाला हूँ.
Taiwanese आ रहे हैं.
ताइवान चलते हैं.
थोड़े दिन में तेरे से ज्यादा बाल होंगे उसके.
टर्की से दोस्ती खत्म. Now Taiwan is my best friend.
All right. Good talk,
Okay,
guys.
boys.
See you
Good night.
tomorrow.
Chala boys, take care.
See you guys.
Adios.
Bye.
Bye.
See you. Bye.
See you. Bye.